Tell me about a time someone talked about you in another language and you showed them that you understood them in that language. As always, I'll go first. I was in Budapest in some cafe. And me and my American friends, we were laughing, having a good time. They were asking me what things on the menu are. I was telling them, but some dudes up front talking about how we're just stupid American girls. So I didn't say anything. I just casually went up and placed 5 orders in Hungarian in front of them. Tell me about a time someone talked about you in another language and you showed them that you understood them in that language.
Honest to God, I've been waiting for this one so bad. So I went to the Macy's in New York City, the one that everybody goes to, and I went directly to the cologne section because I wanted a specific cologne, Chanel Blue. When I get there, I tell the clerk exactly what I want, and she's like, oh, we only have the bigger version of that perfume. And I was like, you know what? I'm lazy, so give me the bigger version. I'll just get that one. Right after I said that, that woman literally goes to ring me up and says in Spanish to her coworker, da hombre que te cogen de tener pendejo y le voy a vender la botella más grande. Which in English kind of translates to I'm gonna pull a fast one on this dumbass kid and I'm gonna sell him the bigger bottle. When I tell you I was in shock, but I just told her kind of exactly what she said about me. So I just said, dame la botella pequeña, pendeja, which is give me the smaller version of the bottle, you bitch. This woman's face, I've never seen someone so shocked. So firstly, this is a reply to a video I did on someone that didn't know I spoke Spanish and then basically insulted me in my face. You can see that by clicking on that comment. But the short answer is no, I don't know what happened to that clerk. I don't know if she got fired. She was really apologetic when I said what I said. She felt really bad. She started giving me free samples and stuff like that. I just so happen to have a family member that's a really, really, really high up in Macy's in the board. And she would always tell us that if we ever had a problem with an employee in Macy's, to just call her up, not make a scene, and not, potentially make it a bigger situation than it needs to be. So I just called her up, told her exactly the information of the worker, all that, and she handles it because obviously she doesn't want someone to misrepresent her brand, especially in that huge of a case. So yeah, I guess this woman just did not pick the right person to mess with. I'm not sure what happened to her, but that's it. So I did buy it off her. In hindsight, maybe that wasn't the best idea, but it's here. It lasted me 6 months. It's about empty now, but this is the literal blue de Chanel that I bought that one day about 6 months ago. So it has a little bit of history behind it.
Tell me about a time someone talked about you in another language and you showed them that you understood them in that language.
I've been waiting to tell the story. Oh my god. So, I was in a shop with my friends one day. I'm bilingual, so I speak Farsi and I speak English. By the way, Farsi is the language of Iran. So, I was waiting in the queue to buy my stuff, and there was these 2 Iranian women behind me, and then I heard them say, "Vay, چقدر این جلویی مثل خرس میمونه." Which translates in English, wow, this girl in the front looks like a bear. I legit turned around and said this. تو دماغت مثل سوراخ کون منه. Which literally translates to, your nose looks like my arsehole. I told her, bitch. They were legit so shocked. Oh my god, I will never forget it.
Tell me about a time someone talked about you in another language and you showed them that you understood.
I have to participate in this. In spite of having a bad hair day, I was born and partially raised in Tokyo, Japan, and Japanese was my first language. I forgot a lot when I moved to the States during my childhood, but I have since been studying to become fluent again, and I've always known enough to get around and to understand what people are saying for the most part. When I was 16, I had a boyfriend who got me a book on Japanese dirty words, and I showed it to my parents, and they confirmed that it was accurate, so I memorized that thing cover to cover. And since then, every time I go back to Tokyo and I hear people talking about me inappropriately, usually it's about my height, my body. I'm a 5'11" blonde in Japan, you can imagine. And I just like to wait till they're done, and then I turn around and give them the look and greet them in Japanese. And they are scared shitless.
Tell me about a time someone talked about you in another language and you showed them that you understood them in that language.
Oh wow, it's my time to shine. So for those of you that don't know, मैं गोरिया पर मेरा दिल Punjabi. So almost anytime I go to a gas station in California, I greet the person that is working. Sat Sri Akal ji, ki hal chal. But sometimes, I walk in and I hear, and you know I do a quick, and I happily say, me moto hanji, but tu si salia.
Tell me about a time someone talked about you in another language and you showed them that you understood them in that language.
Okay, so this one took place in Paris. I was visiting my family there, and this one day, me and my cousin went to this clothing store. And while we were going through the clothing racks, we were chatting to each other in French. And this lady that was standing pretty close to us, she looked at me and then turned to her daughter saying, Talay modela la sharmuta. So I looked back at her and I said, Fimt alek ibli ma'ule? And then without replying back to me, she continued in another language saying, Nou, ze moet trots op zichzelf zijn dat ze twee talen kan. Not thinking that I would understand that language as well. So I replied to her saying, Nederlands kan ik ook hoor, ga je lekker? And she was in shock. She couldn't say another word and her daughter just walked away.
Tell me about a time someone talked about you in another language and you showed them that you understood them in that language.
Yes, this one's for me. Okay, so I went to a French immersion school growing up, and for those of you who don't know, that means that my school worked on the French curriculum. Everything that kids in France were learning, we were learning at the same time. So, fast forward to 7th grade, my school takes a trip to New York, and we're staying at this hostel, and there's this other French school there, but they were, like, from France. So, these kids the whole time had uppity-ass fucking attitudes. They didn't know we were a French school, though, right? So, one morning, my friend Kennedy and I were in the bathroom, and these girls come in running their fucking mouths, talking out their asses, because obviously they thought they weren't gonna face any consequences. So, Kennedy and I just don't even say shit to them. We look at each other, start talking shit about them in French like they were not there. Just straight talk. And these girls stopped, dead in their tracks, looked at us and were like, and just walked out.
Tell me about a time someone talked about you in another language and you showed them that you understood them in that language.
So I work at Starbucks, and one day it was just really busy, and we had a customer that was like not being patient. And he was from the Middle East. I'm not sure exactly where he was from, but I can tell he was from the Middle East. And he kept asking where his drink was. And I told him, like, it'll be out soon. We have a lot of drinks right now, so it might be a second. And in Arabic, this guy goes to his friend sitting next to him. "Tala حسابي اللي بيخد بيتيزو وعم بيقلي لا انطر." Which in English translate to, look at this small guy that takes it up his ass. He's telling me to wait. When I think about it, it's really funny. I just looked at him and I went, "Mahatan bi khada bitizu ghayrak khayyi," which translates to, "No one here takes it up the ass except you, brother." Like, "Brother, I'm so sorry." He was like apologizing profusely, and he got so red, and he waited patiently for his drink, and I made him wait. I actually like talked in Arabic afterwards, and like we were good. We became friends. It was funny.